I've analyzed some of the highest grossing creators, and this is the personal brand playbook that they all follow. Whether you're a creator looking to get more followers and opportunities, a professional in the industry, or a founder, this video will have everything that you need. So first, we'll get into making short videos that get you virality. We'll talk about flows and how to nurture that audience. We'll discuss product launches, and we'll cover ideas and strategies on what to record and publish along every step of the way. This is a complete playbook that you can refer back to whenever you need to ensure that you're following the best practices. So let's get into it. All right, so this is the overall view for the 2025 personal brand playbook. Now, at the top, we have the top of the funnel, the middle of the funnel, and the bottom of the funnel. I'm going to show the whole process of how you can make videos that drive traffic to the middle of the funnel where the audience, these new followers are nurtured, and then finally how they go to the bottom of the funnel, which is the sales process where maybe you can convert them into a sale, selling something that they need that you are skilled, talented, and good at making. So to start it off, the top of the funnel, this is where you bring in new audiences to your brand and your channel. And to the left, we have these short form videos. And to the right, there's paid acquisition. Now, let's start with short form videos real quick, and then I'll dive into paid acquisition. So short form videos is one of the best ways right now for you to get your face out there in front of a lot of new, different people that haven't seen what you're all about. And you've probably seen creators who have no following at all, such as myself when I did TikTok, where you post a few videos and these videos get reached to thousands of people, like not even just thousands, like hundreds of thousands, millions of people even. And for example, some of these videos that I listed up, now just a quick note, this right one is not mine, but these two are. And for a quick example, this video was probably my 10th video, like under my first 10 videos on the account, and it got 100,000 views. Now that account also, I think my third video, it got picked up and got like 300,000 views. So that brought a ton of new subscribers and followers to that channel. So it's very possible to make quality content that just gets pushed by the algorithm to reach a ton of new faces. But the thing is, with shorts, when these videos reach new people, they're not exactly loyal followers yet, which is why you need to bring them into your ecosystem. Unlike back in the day where if you see somebody on Instagram, you follow them, essentially at that point, they are more of a loyal follower. But because these days it's so commoditized to have just a ton of social media content out there and we just follow people like left and right, like we follow everybody these days. So that's why I like to say that having TikTok followers or short form video content followers and subs aren't the same quality or value as if you had long form video followers and subscribers from that. But it's fine. It doesn't mean you can't bring them into your other videos, which is the middle of the funnel. Now, I'm also going to mention that with these videos, for short videos, there's a few things to keep in mind and what to make. Now, of course, it goes infinitesimally complex and complicated, like strategies can go many different ways. But a couple things to keep in mind as you're making these is that you should have education or value content that you're making for these people. So as you're making videos, where is the value in your videos? And for example, like this video I made here, it was an education style video where I taught people about this brain trick. This was a brain trick that I read from Mel Robbins, and I made a video on that. I think it was like a 10, 15-second video that was talking about her trick about counting from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then just acting on what you had in mind. So that was an education video, and also other content on this account as well was educational. So when they pushed that out, this type of content out, people would expect my account to have more of an education or something that can help them learn something. So once they click subscribe or follow, they're in this atmosphere. And then once they're in this atmosphere of me, this environment of me, or this ecosystem of me, then I have to show them that I am somebody that is relatable and relevant. So that's why I have relativity on here. And at the time, this was a trend to do where you have just a video. And it's actually still a trend that you can do right now too. And you just have a video of you doing something, and there's like a quote on it right now. And now there's like a trend to say like, hey, so-and-so, why haven't I seen you at the club? And then you can have something behind it. This was just a quote, but essentially you want to stay up to date with these platforms that you're on. TikTok is the most up to date. Like if you want to be a personal brand that can communicate that, hey, I am hit with it and I am as contemporary as it gets, TikTok is the platform to be on. That's why a lot of old creators are struggling to go on TikTok, because they can't transfer the whole polished way of presenting and being completely genuine that Instagram pushed and had like took over, or like had this stronghold, this chokehold on social media for the last decade. So a lot of these creators being used to the old ways is having a tough time converting to the new way of presenting on TikTok. So relativity, you have to show that you are understanding what is contemporary in the platform and speak that language. And then upkeep, obviously, this is to continue pushing that brand that you're pushing. Now, this is just a screenshot from this creator that I thought was really cool. I'm going to do a video on him shortly because he created a whole business and a community behind his brand. And so this is just a screen cap from his videos, and his videos show a lot of the lifestyle that he communicates in his brand. So his brand is like summer, being active, this very orange tone, and they are pushing a lot of these people towards their business of a community, a paid community, and they're doing vacation retreats, and they're also doing multiple tiers of those communities as well. So we're going to go into his stuff in another video. But upkeep is to just continue showing the people that is in your ecosystem that you are still who you are, and that you can expect, or that they can expect you to be you. And if you don't upkeep your account after a while, it's going to start slowly dying, and the algorithm is not going to push your stuff out to as many people as it can. Because if you have one video that goes viral for the next few days, if you're continuously posting, it's all going to get boosted as well. So upkeep is important. Also, if you want to access this whole thing and look at it slowly, it's in the description below. I know I moved a bit fast, so you can look at every part of it individually at your own pace. Okay, let's jump back into it. Now, there are a few short form video platforms like TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram Reels. For the most part, if you keep all of these in mind, then it will work on all of these platforms. Now, one thing to keep in note as well is that all of these platforms have different cultures. So TikTok has its own culture, its own way of communicating and talking, using certain words that are proving that like, hey, I am TikTok native. Whereas YouTube Shorts, there's ways to edit on YouTube Shorts that look a bit different than the way TikTok has the videos. So like something that might go viral on TikTok or get pushed out on TikTok might not necessarily get pushed out on YouTube Shorts. Same goes with IG Reels. Now, I feel like IG Reels is probably the most balanced in between, where YouTube Shorts, I feel like, is more completely edited. TikTok could be more raw. IG Reels could be in between of like edited and kind of raw and being aesthetically pleasing, which is still on brand with what Instagram has been like over the last 10 years. Now, a quick mention on paid acquisition as well, because you could do paid acquisition to get people into your ecosystem. So I highlighted this here, where paid acquisition could still lead them to the middle of the funnel where people are getting nurtured and this audience is getting more convinced and trusting this whole brand that you're building. And of course, with paid acquisition, a popular way to utilize paid acquisition is to have them go and sign up for a lead magnet, which eventually brings them to your email list. This email list does continuous marketing through email, and some of the lead magnets, which we went over in a video already, could be in the form of a training. For example, here, this was a questionnaire for ideal client decoder, and then there's potentially free downloads that you can do. Like Sean Dalton here, he has free downloads for his Lightroom presets. So if you want to become a photographer, and his brand is on photography, so if you want to be a photographer and have good looking photos and you don't want to edit so much, then he has this preset that helps you do your editing that is similar to the way that he's been teaching. Same with this ebook as well. She has a ebook on yearly goals. So essentially, it's just something that is convincing that gets people to want to sign up. So then when they sign up, they can go to the email list. Now, of course, you could also do paid acquisition that goes straight to the sales page, but that is another strategy as well. And paid acquisition can go many, many different ways. So your goal at the top of the funnel essentially is to get the most reach. So when you have the most reach at the top of the funnel as you're making these short form videos, then it will bring people into the rest of your ecosystem. Now, the rest of the ecosystem would look like this. So if they follow you, then they will land on your YouTube page where you can do some longer form videos, or they could also land on your Instagram. Now, of course, if they just follow you on TikTok, then you go through this whole thing and keep them on that platform of TikTok. Or by doing all of this, eventually they get curious and then they go towards these other channels as well. I see a lot of TikTok creators that have in their bio, hey, I respond better on Instagram, so follow me there. And then they push their audience to Instagram. Now, Instagram does have its benefits. We'll jump into that in a second. But let's go towards YouTube because it's the video platform. So once people have gone onto the middle part of the funnel, they're watching your YouTube, this is the best way to build this trust between your audience and you. And as you're building this trust, they're more likely to go down to the other parts of the funnel, which is the bottom of the funnel. And so with YouTube, a couple things to keep in mind, or a couple approaches, is you can do things like tutorials. This is a tutorial here on editing videos, Premiere Pro and After Effects. This is Justin Odisho, and he has a channel on teaching people how to edit using Adobe tools. Now, there's also insights, which is what I do a lot in my videos. This is, for example, my video on doing a talking head video setup, how to set up your videos when you're doing a talking head video. And I analyzed a couple other big creators. So I'm sharing some insights from my experience, which is essentially 10 years in advertising space, working in media and using the camera. And then there's also reporting. You can do reporting as well. This is good if you're not trying to establish yourself as the expert, but you can also still build up the reputation as somebody that's knowledgeable in the industry. So for example, there's this channel here. He started reporting on AI innovation and releases over the last year when AI got really big from ChatGPT. And this channel grew from like 0 to 30K in a few months. And then now that I checked, it's at like 300K. So he definitely, after a year and a half of just reporting and talking about different innovations in AI, and even if you don't have a background in machine learning or computer programming or data science, for example, you could still be somebody that's respected and trusted in that community. So here he is making a video about OpenAI's releases. I'm sure this got a lot of views as well because he knows how to present now. He knows about the AI industry and his videos look good. So this is the YouTube part. And once people have watched a lot of your YouTube content, you can bring them down to the bottom of the funnel. Now, there are a few ways to do this. Some people have done it where they have links in their description that point to different links, different sales page, different email signups, different types of sales funnels. But the gist of it is it takes people down to either product sales, or if they want to schedule a meeting or a chat with you, then they can do appointment setting. But we'll get into that in a second. So we'll also go into Instagram first. So with Instagram, the Instagram part is essentially like a landing page for you, like a professional landing page, except instead of being on LinkedIn, this is Instagram. And it's more of, I think, a contemporary way to do landing pages. For example, back then, people had websites, their own personal websites that you can go to and just check their websites. But these days, there's Instagram. So we'll dive into a couple things on Instagram. Now, first thing to note is that an Instagram's profile could be optimized so that when people go on this landing page of yours, they understand what this personal brand is about. So I have here Alex Garcia, who is the founder of the agency Marketing Examined. I also love his podcast, Sweat Equity, a lot. So I'm using him as an example here. And the first thing to notice is highlights. So highlights here, when you go on somebody's profile or when somebody visits your profile, they're going to see your highlights, which is at the top of the page. And you can highlight different things here. I've seen a few business pages that have different funnels that they highlight through here. So for example, one could be testimonials showing other people's results for what they're selling. Another one could be part of the funnel that they're trying to get people to go down on. So it might show some of their lifestyle, what they're achieving. And eventually at the end of that, it's like, hey, sign up for it here. So there's many different ways to approach the highlight strategy. But the thing to keep in mind is that once people go on your profile, they'll see on the top of the page highlights. So they're most likely going to click it. Now, we'll also dive into the branding of the page. You can see here that Alex has a certain look to his page. So his colors, like his shirt is this matte, faded kind of green. He has this streetwear look here. He's using a black and white photo in the way that this black and white is strong and very emphasizing. Like it's a deep, dark black. It's not just like a faded black, which you might associate with older vintage stuff. This is like a contemporary black and white. Now, of course, you can go deep into color theory, but you can essentially see here it's a very similar color palette. For example, you can even see on me, I have a dark colored outfit, dark colored hat, black and white, dark blue. So it's all a similar color palette. Now, you could also go even further and consider what he's doing for the titles of these videos that he has pinned up. Also, take note, pinned videos is another thing too. So when people land on the landing page, the Instagram landing page, these pinned videos are the first few videos that they're probably going to watch. So they're going to click it and it's going to be an impression of what your brand is. So there's a whole strategy on this. Some people have introductions, a video sales letter, and then a testimonial kind of thing to eventually drive a sale. So there's many different strategies on how you can organize your pinned videos and your bio. So for example, here, we'll jump into the bio. For Alex's bio, he starts off by saying content to make smart marketing decisions. So this is introducing him right off the bat. Second one is training for CrossFit Games. So he's training for CrossFit Games. It's showing that like, hey, he's not just a marketing person, but he's actually somebody else that has different hobbies outside of social media and doing marketing services. And then he's building this. So he's tagging his companies. Sometimes I see a lot of people tag companies they're involved in, things they're invested in, partners that they have, and then apply to work is right here. So his page is a marketing page. He does a lot of marketing examinations, hence marketing examined. And so people might want to work with him. So the first thing that they might want to check out is the Typeform link that they can apply to work together with Alex. So another thing to take note as well is the posts that are on here. So with Reels is to get the views and the impressions to new people, but there's also different posts that would follow these Reels that is to establish your page in the branding and in the message that you want to establish it. And then essentially all of that is going into this part of nurturing your audience, which is the goal of the middle of the funnel. You're nurturing the audience, you're educating them, you're entertaining them, you're informing them, and then occasionally you do that sale at the end where it's like, maybe it's not even a complete sale, but it's like a sign up for my email list, check out this link, hey, I'm doing this. And essentially it's an ask from you to the audience. Now, we'll also dive into story posts as well, because this is a good way to market on Instagram. And there's a few things that people do, such as stay on top of their audience's mind, do some announcements, and this is an example of the sale. So let's dive in. This is Iman Ghatzi's business page. And so to stay on top of mind, he has this, which is a Q&A, and it also shows some lifestyle stuff behind it as well. So somebody's asking a question, and then he gives a response. And then you could also do things like polls or questionnaires, things that are engaging with the audience. And then here's an announcement. Now, this is kind of salesy, but it's just to stay on top of your audience and telling them what you have coming up next. And then finally, this is the salesy thing. And of course, this one's not so bad as ask me a question, but essentially, I'm sure this at the end of this funnel is going to be like hey, sign up for this free toolkit that I'm going to give out. And then once they sign up for the toolkit, that brings them down to the sales funnel. And essentially, even though this one's a question, you could have direct links or DM me or click here, and that does directly, or that should directly take people to the bottom of the funnel. Also, quick note, if you want to download all of this, it's in the description link below. And let's get back into it. Now, the bottom of the funnel is where the sales happens. And so there's two ways to look at this. The first is if it's a simple sell, you can just have people go on this side, which is a product sales, and then they could buy things like your products. So products could be something like this, a cinematic LUT, which is a preset for color editing for video editors. And a lot of creators sell stuff like this because it helps their followers and people in their community, their brand, do their work easier. So you would download this LUT and you would apply it to your edit, and it gets the job done really quick, and it's a compelling sell and easy to do as well because he makes this once, posts it up, and then people will buy it forever. And then there's also things like this from Lavender, who has a mental health channel. So she is selling this physical product, which is the Artist of Life workbook. So she goes over questionnaires about maybe mental health, things to check in on yourself. And then eventually that's related to this workbook that people can buy and then answer similar mental health questions in this workbook. And so products could be many different things. And the best way to figure out what products to sell is to see what your audience needs. Now, these days, I've also seen people sell a community. So you could pay to have access to a community. A big popular one is School, because Alex Hormozy who is a big figure in social media, is pushing this a lot. And he's invested heavily into School communities. So it's getting a lot of marketing. People are signing up for School and hosting communities on School. Now, there's also other platforms like WAP, which I see people hosting courses and stuff on here as well. Now, it doesn't have to be on any of these platforms. It could even be just a chat group on Telegram or WhatsApp. I've seen crypto chat groups on Telegram where they're doing certain calls for crypto and things to buy. And it's a small, tight-knit community, but it just goes to show that people pay for communities, and it doesn't even have to be fully organized. It could just be somewhere where people can congregate and communicate. Now, there's also service advisories, which you can just sell your service outright, like John Hu here, who's the founder of Stan. And I actually think we have mutual friends as well, because my friend was telling me that he hung out with this guy that looks like me, and then here's his channel. So I looked at his channel and I was like, oh yeah, I like his stuff. So I watched some of his stuff. I like this stuff. And on his page, so he's a creator on TikTok, and on one of his links on Linktree, or his company, which is a Linktree alternative, he has a book a one-on-one coaching session. So you could book a one-on-one coaching session with him as part of his offer. Now, there's a lot of many different offers that people can do. These are just some examples that I'm seeing a lot of. And so if you're not doing product sales, the other thing you can do is setting up appointments. So a lot of agencies, for example, marketing agencies, social media marketing agencies, or maybe if you're doing consultation, you could set up appointments like with this highlight, and then you can have them sign up on Calendly. And then once they sign up on the Calendly, you chat with them. If things are good and they're interested in what you have to offer, then cash collected. Now, of course, appointment setting could also lead back to service advisory here, but I wanted to keep that on the other side just to make it easier to understand. But if they end up not wanting to buy, I've seen people do sales funnels that keep them in the ecosystem, brings them back to some videos, gives them care packages, and then eventually brings them back to the appointment setting. They'll chat again and eventually cash collected. And so the bottom of the funnel is the sales section. And essentially, that's the whole ecosystem for a 2025 personal brand playbook. You get all of your audience from the top of the funnel, which is making shorts, to give you all of the reach and views. And then once people are in this ecosystem that you created, then you nurture that audience through your YouTube or through your Instagram, your landing page or professional landing page on Instagram. And then you nurture them as well on here. Or if they're on your newsletter, then you can send them care packages or keep them updated with summaries. And eventually, if they start really trusting you and liking what you have to offer, and you have a solution to where they need to go, then you can send out some call to actions, tell them to click this link or sign up here, and then they go to the bottom of the funnel, which is the sales process. And then from there, you could do either quick sales, product sales, or have more complicated things like communities or consultations. And of course, anything else that you think your audience needs could be offered in here as well. So this is it, the 2025 personal brand playbook. All right, if you want to access all of this, it's in the description link below. You can click that and check it there. And I'll see you in the next video.